the next meaning of liberty that we're going to study is personal liberties. This is really, in a way, the most difficult meaning of liberty to understand, and I'll explain why as we go along. So activity 13 is where we're going to begin. So again, get out your textbook. That'll help you to follow what I'm going to say about these activities. So in letter A, Blackstone talks about first something he calls natural liberty. Natural liberty is something that has to do with what political philosophers call the state of nature. This is a condition where there is no government to make laws concerning people's actions, so people act without punishment from government. Now in 13a, one thing that Blackstone makes clear is that even if there is no government, there is such a thing as right and wrong actions. For example, if people were on the moon somehow, it still would be wrong to murder or rape somebody, because right and wrong is not something that's established by governments. It's just in the nature of things, and our rights follow us around wherever we go, so that it's always wrong to harm another person. So under natural liberty, even though there is no government to punish people, people still have to refrain from harming others. So natural liberty means you can do whatever you want except harm other people. Now in 13b, he is envisioning a situation where there is a government and people are living together in society. In letter A, he's not envisioning people having to live together in a community under a government, but in letter B, there is a government, we are living together as a society under a government. Now in this situation, there's more limits on us than there was when there was no government, because we have to find ways of living together. And so what he talks about in 13b is that it's going to be the same as natural liberty. You can't hurt people, but you're going to be even more restrained to the extent that it's necessary and expedient for the general advantage of the public. What that means is we're going to have to act in a way that makes it possible for people to live together in a society. Just kind of the most innocent example of this is laws that regulate the kind of noise you can make in your house. To have parties at 2, 3, 4 in the morning that are really loud and that keep other people from sleeping would make it really hard for people to live together in society. Now there are other examples, but that's just a really easy one to understand, I think. So for this meaning of liberty, I use a circle. I don't know if you can be able to see this diagram that well on the video, but you'll get the general idea that there's what I'm going to call a sacred circle that's going to represent this meaning of liberty, personal liberties. And this outermost part, the circle as a whole represents all the possible human choices that people can make. Now, as I said, you can't harm people, so there's already a restriction that we cannot harm others. But then there's even further restrictions that we can't do things that are destructive of society, that harm society and make it hard for people to live together in society. So these are all restrictions. But within this large circle, these are choices that we can make without interference from government. So looked at from the point of view of the individual, we can act up to here. Looked at from the point of view without interference from government. Looked at the point of view of government, governments can make limits on our choices if it's preventing us from harming others, and also to make it possible for people to live together easily and well and fairly in society. And so government can go out to here, and it still would be a free society. Letter C, that just gives an example of a law that Blackstone sees as being frivolous and of not serving any good purpose for society or preventing people from harming others. The example is, the kind of fashion where people wore an ornament on their shoes, and it said only people of a certain rank in society could wear them. But then, at the end of this one, it just continues to elaborate on this meaning of liberty, is that we need to be the master of our own conduct, except in those points wherein the public good requires some direction or restraint, which is these areas here, these outer circles. Letter D is an example from the American legal tradition. As I said, I bring in Blackstone because we inherited the English legal tradition and started from there. Now, letter D, Fields is really saying the same thing that we've seen. This is a description of personal liberties, and he makes it clear that government can put limits on people's choices when it comes to health, good order, morals, peace, safety. These are all areas where government can make restrictions, and traditionally did make limits on people's choices. When people say that you can't legislate morality, that's sort of a very new, recent, modern concept. Government really always makes laws about morality when it says don't rape, murder, and steal. And even in some areas where there's a clear connection between morality and the public good, there could be some limits. For example, we put limits on prostitution. Marijuana, that's a controversial one, but that's